Isabel smiled into her teacup, the steam curling around her face like a soft secret. "You're doing great," she repeated, softer this time. "They light up when you walk through the door now. That didn't happen 6 months ago." Marcus looked at her for a long moment, something unreadable moving behind his eyes. "Thank you," he said finally, "for saying it, and for everything." An awkward silence settled between them, the kind that hadn't existed in weeks. Outside, the snow that had brought them together that first night had long melted, replaced by the tender greens of spring. Inside the house, the air felt warmer than the season required. Isabel stood first. "I should head back to the cottage. Early art class field trip tomorrow." Marcus rose too, hands in his pockets. "Isabel." She paused at the doorway. "Yes." He opened his mouth, closed it again, then gave a small, almost shy laugh. "Nothing. Just thank you. Good night." She told herself the flutter in her stomach was only the tea. But the flutters refused to leave. They appeared when Marcus started working from home on Fridays so he could drive the girls and Isabel to their weekend pottery class. They multiplied when he carried a sleeping Olivia in from the car, and Isabel followed with Sophia's limp weight against her shoulder, the four of them moving through the dark house like a quiet, practiced unit. They became impossible to ignore the evening Marcus found Isabel in the sunroom long after the girls were in bed, painting again for the first time in nearly 2 years. He stood in the doorway watching her mix cerulean and burnt umber on a makeshift palette, the lamplight catching in her hair the same way the train station fluorescence once had, only now it looked like gold instead of defeat. "You're painting," he said, voice low with wonder. Isabel startled, paintbrush jerking. A streak of midnight blue slashed across the canvas. Margaret found me some supplies. I thought the girls could use them for crafts, but..." She shrugged, embarrassed. "Old habits. Don't stop on my account." He stepped closer. "What is it?" "Nothing yet." She turned the canvas toward him. Just layers of turbulent color, storm clouds, bruised purples, a hint of streetlight yellow fighting through. "It's the night we met. Or how it felt, anyway." Marcus studied it for a long time. "It's beautiful," he said quietly. "And brutal. You should exhibit again." She laughed, a short, disbelieving sound. "With what portfolio? Everything I had went into a dumpster when they padlocked my apartment. Then make new work." He said it like it was the simplest thing in the world. "We have space. Light. Time. The girls would love having paint everywhere." Something inside her chest cracked open at the "we." Summer arrived in a rush of lightning bugs and melted popsicles. The girls turned 6 and demanded a garden tea party for their birthday. Isabel spent 3 days sewing tiny fairy wings from old lace curtains while Marcus, utterly useless with a needle, built an honest-to-God trellis out of copper pipe so the clematis would bloom over their heads exactly on the day. On the morning of the party, Isabel woke to find Marcus in the kitchen wearing a ridiculous florist's apron, attempting to pipe roses onto a cake that listed dangerously to one side. "You're going to give Mrs. Henderson from next door a heart attack," she teased, sliding the bowl of buttercream out of his reach before he added a 7th lopsided rose. "I have a reputation to uphold," he said with mock seriousness. "Sophia informed me that turning 6 requires the fanciest cake in the history of cakes. I am a man of my word." Isabel took the piping bag from his fingers. Their hands brushed. Neither moved away. "Let me fix it," she murmured. 20 minutes later the cake looked like something out of a magazine, and Marcus looked at her like she had hung the moon. The party was chaos and perfection. Little girls in flower crowns, Marcus in a straw hat he swore he would burn later, Isabel laughing so hard she had to sit down when Olivia solemnly declared the goldfish crackers were fairy bread. When the sun sank and the last guest left, the 4 of them collapsed in a heap on the living room rug, Sugar Crash limp and happy. Sophia's head was in Isabel's lap. Olivia sprawled across Marcus's chest. Fireflies blinked outside the open French doors. "Daddy," Sophia mumbled, already half asleep. "Can Isabel be our mommy now? For real?" The room went very still. Marcus's arms tightened reflexively around Olivia. Isabel felt every heartbeat in her throat. Sweetheart, Marcus said carefully. We talked about this. Isabel is. Isabel is family, Olivia finished, matter of fact, eyes closed. She has been for ages. We just need the paper that says it out loud. Isabel met Marcus's gaze over the girls' heads. His eyes were wide, startled, hopeful, terrified. She gave the smallest nod. Marcus swallowed hard. We'll talk about it in the morning, ladies. When we're all awake. The girls accepted this with the supreme confidence of children who know they have already won. Later, after teeth were brushed and stories read, and two small bodies finally surrendered to sleep, Marcus found Isabel on the back terrace staring at the dark garden as though it held the answer to a question she hadn't dared ask. He handed her a glass of wine without a word and leaned against the railing beside her. Minutes passed, filled only by crickets and distant thunder. I'm not trying to replace Catherine, Isabel said at last, voice barely above the night sounds. I could never. I don't want to erase her. I know, he said. I don't want you to. Another silence, softer this time. I love them, she whispered. So much it scares me sometimes. And she stopped. Marcus turned to face her fully. Moonlight carved silver along the strong lines of his face. Finish it, he said gently. I think I love you too, she said in a rush, terrified and exhilarated. And I don't know what to do with that because this wasn't supposed to happen and I still wake up some mornings waiting for the other shoe to drop and… Marcus set his glass down and cupped her face in both hands. Isabel Hayes, he said, solemn as a vow, the other shoe is not going to drop. I have been falling in love with you since the night my daughters decided a freezing train platform was the best place to find a mother. I fought it because I thought I was supposed to stay broken forever. But you… His voice cracked. You make me want to be whole again. For them. For me. For us. Tears slipped down her cheeks, warm against his cool palms. Ask me properly, she whispered. He laughed once, shaky and incredulous, then dropped to one knee right there on the weathered cedar deck, still in his ridiculous straw hat because neither of them cared. Isabel, he said, taking her trembling left hand. Will you marry me? Will you let us be the family the girls already decided we are? Will you let me love you for the rest of my days, and let me spend every one of them proving you never have to be cold or alone again? She stared at him, this good man who had seen her at her absolute worst, and decided she was worth everything anyway. Yes, she said. Yes, 1,000 times yes. He surged up and kissed her beneath a sky full of summer stars, and it tasted like redemption. Like second chances, like the life she never thought she'd get to have. A year later, on a crisp December afternoon exactly 2 years after a wrecked woman in a tattered dress sat freezing on Platform 7, Isabel Reed stood in the same train station wearing a cream-colored wool coat and boots that actually fit. Snow fell again, thick and silent. 2 little girls in matching pink puffy coats, new ones because they'd outgrown last year's, tugged her toward the same concrete pillar. Look, Mommy. Sophia pointed excitedly. That's where we found you. Isabel laughed, eyes shining. Marcus came up behind them and wrapped his arms around her waist, resting his chin on her head. Our origin story, he murmured against her hair. Olivia considered the pillar solemnly. It needs a plaque, she decided. Something like, on this spot, 2 very smart little girls rescued their mommy and made their daddy happy again. Marcus choked on a laugh. Isabel turned in his arms and kissed him in front of God and commuters and the indifferent timetable board. Something like that, she agreed. And somewhere above them, in whatever place love goes when it leaves the world too soon, Catherine Reed smiled. Because some stories don't end with loss. Some stories begin the moment 2 small girls look at a shivering stranger and see, with the ruthless clarity of children, exactly what their family has been missing all along. And sometimes, when the snow falls just right and the world is quiet enough to listen, love finds its way home wearing someone else's face, carrying someone else's grief, and turns it into something so bright it outshines every dark thing that came before. Isabel took her husband's hand, felt the solid circle of the ring he'd placed there 6 months ago, and squeezed tight. Let's go home, she said.